I know. I talked too much yesterday. I apologize for that. I am getting ready to leave Laughing Heart Hostel, and this was a really excellent place to stay. And just to sort of show you how close the trail is to here. If I can turn my camera around, I'll have to pause the phone just a minute. Okay, I turned my phone around. This is the parking lot to the back of the hostel right here. And just walk over. There's a parking lot right here that's not a part of the hostel. It's the Forest Service parking lot. And the trailhead. This is the parking lot for the trailhead for the AT. And so, just to give you an idea how close the trail is to this particular hostel, which I just think is amazing. Right there is the trail. Comes around, goes right through there, through that mud puddle. I'm gonna see if I can make my way across that. It's not so much whether I could make my way across it or not, but could I make my way across it keeping my feet wet, which I did. I feel pretty good this morning, although I didn't sleep the best in the world. So across the road here is the steps going down into Hot Springs. Get a little closer, let you see the steps. I'm not gonna go down these steps with the camera in my hand, but they just sort of wind down to the road down there. And I don't know if you can see it, but off over there in the distance there is a crosswalk, and that's where the trail crosses over and then gets on that sidewalk and goes to my left in towards town. So that's the trail. Really cool. So I had told you that I bent one of my trekking poles, and I did make contact, or I got online and looked up how to get a replacement part from Black Diamond, and thankfully I was able to get a replacement part, and getting it on its way to me. It cost a little over $50 to do that, so that was a little bit of an expensive blunder, but still cheaper than buying another set of poles. And I probably could have lived with that bent pole, but like I said, I just don't really want to take the chance of it collapsing under me sometime when I'm bent over, catching my breath. I'm really happy this morning in that I have shaved off about 7 pounds of pack weight. I started the trail last Thursday with 43 pounds of pack weight. Now that's food and water and everything. I don't really know what my base weight is, but what really matters is what you're carrying. But I'm walking out of this hostel with 36.5 pounds of pack weight, and I can definitely feel the difference. So I am thrilled. Don't know if you see these little emblazons or markings in the sidewalk here, but it's really cool. They've got these things embedded into the sidewalk identifying the Appalachian Trail. Here comes another one here. This is the Smoky Mountain Diner where I had breakfast this morning. Today is Monday, February 20th, and it's day 5 for me on the trail. I'm walking along the French Broad River before I turn up. It looks like it's going to be nearly straight up for quite a while. I can see Laughing Heart Hostel from here. It's in about the middle of the frame. Sort of a brown building. And it's the last building you see before it starts up the mountain on the other side. This is a view of the big metropolis of Hot Springs, North Carolina. This climb up and out of Hot Springs is no joke. A day or so ago, I talked about the hemlock tree fallen victim to the woolly adelgid, and this is an infestation of what the adelgid looks like. And I'm a little bit surprised because this is a very young tree. It's probably at the base of it, it might be 6 or 8 inches in diameter. And it's already got that adelgid all over it. They usually get the more mature trees. Now this would be an awesome site to camp at. I'm not gonna walk and talk a whole lot, but I'm shooting this just to give you an idea of what I'm hiking in. This is actually a really nice trail. There's no big rocks or roots to trip over. It's a little bit inclined up, but not bad. And I can tell that the maintaining club has been active in this section fairly recently, and they are doing an excellent job. Now, if this is not the most beautiful thing, I don't know exactly where I'm at. I've not taken the time to look on a map, so I don't really know where this is, or if it's on private property or what. It's sort of curious about that dam, but this is beautiful. This seems like it could be part of an old homestead or something. This is Mill Ridge Road, I believe. It's a very pretty area. I guess the Forest Service keeps this weeds cut down where the trees don't take over, and it's a grassy area. I found this out when I was hiking in Georgia, but you can always tell when there's a highway crossing coming up. You can hear the traffic long before you get to it. Although now I'm getting pretty close to getting to it. I'm not sure if the sound of the cars will come through in this video or not, but it's pretty loud and can be a bit disconcerting when you've been in the woods and in the wilderness, and then you come back down into a road crossing. This is that Mill Ridge Road where it crosses over Highway 25 between, I guess, Marshall and Hot Springs. See somebody on a bicycle over there coming through. Hope I don't make you sick. I met about 3 ladies when I was near that pond earlier. This is probably their vehicles, and they've walked in It's right now 1 o'clock, and the shelter I'm wanting to go to, Spring Mountain Shelter, is about 5 miles from here, and a lot of it is uphill. I'm really hoping I can make it there by 4 o'clock, maybe a little bit after 4, but that's respectable. It's hard to make really good time when you're doing a lot of climbs. At least it is for me. I just don't have the trail legs and the trail lungs yet to do this at any strong kind of a pace, but hopefully I'm getting stronger. I talked about my pack weight earlier when I first started, and I just wanted to add that I've thought of a couple of other things that I can do to improve my situation by maybe as much as a couple of pounds. But I won't be able to get that accomplished until I reach Erwin, Tennessee. And my hope is that will be at the end of my hiking day, Saturday. That is, unless weather forces me to get a shuttle and do some more slack packing. I don't really want to have to do that, but I'm not going to put myself in a position where I was in the other night, Friday night. I don't know how much view there's going to be later. I think there's some weather moving in, so this might be one of the best views I'm going to get today. I was going to make a comment. Last night at the hostel, there were a total of 5 no-bow through hikers, counting myself, and one section hiker that he was sort of like what they call a lasher, a long section hiker. His name was Nodak from North Dakota. Nodak, North Dakota. Really nice guy. And then there was a guy named Merlin who was walking with his dog, and he's got things really figured out hiking wise, and he's an ultralight backpacker. There's a guy named Charlie Brown, and he's hiking with his dog Snoopy. I didn't get Merlin's dog's name, but Charlie Brown's dog's name is Snoopy. And Charlie Brown is a super nice guy too. I think he's going to be at the shelter where I'm going to be at tonight, but I don't really expect to ever see Merlin again, because I think he's a pretty strong hiker and he'll just truck on. I might get to see Nodak. He might stay at the same shelter tonight also. And then there's 2 other guys that were no-bow through hikers, and I didn't, one of them's name is Boone, and the other one I don't remember his name. Very nice gentlemen, and they're right now, for the time being, they are truly platinum blazing it. Because I guess there's 2 of them, they have they have a partner, they can split the shuttle expense, which is nice. And some places they're just shuttling out far enough and hiking back into the hostel, but there are some days where they're having the shuttle driver pick them up at the hostel, drop them off, then they'll go hike 10-12 miles, and then have the shuttle driver pick them up at another point, and then bring them back to the hostel. And tonight's the last night, or last night was the last night they were going to be at Laughing Heart, and then they were going to move up to Uncle Johnny's in Erwin. So I think they were going to hike wherever they were going to get on at, and they were going to hike to, I guess, somewhere close to Sam's Gap. They told me, and I forget. And then they're going to have a shuttle driver from Irwin, Tennessee, pick them up and bring them to Uncle Johnny's. And so that's a really neat way to hike, especially if you got a partner to split the expense of the shuttle cost. I don't have a partner right now, and I don't really expect I'll have one. I might get into a tramily sometime. We'll see. It's always a dilemma when you pass a water source. Do I stop and get water or not? I've probably got a little over a half a liter, but I'm going uphill, and I've got uphill to go for a little ways. But in a mile and a half, I'm going to come to a more solid water source, and I think I'll be fine in a mile and a half with the amount of water I've got. So I think I'm going to pass on getting water here. I don't know if the haziness will be obvious in this video, but looking up in there, it's pretty hazy. I guess that means that the clouds or actually that we're up in the clouds. Seems like the rain has stopped. I'm not sure if it's going to come back or not. This is about as good a view as I've actually been able to see today. I think I'm going to stop here and just filter me about 750 milliliters of water, enough to get me to the shelter. There's supposed to be a good water source at the shelter, Spring Mountain Shelter, and so I think I'll do that, and so I don't put myself in a position to have to carry a bunch of water up this next incline. Well, that took all of about 10 minutes, and part of that's just getting the pack off and getting everything situated, and then when you get done, getting the pack back on. But I'm not complaining. It was not very difficult. Those little squeeze filter, like the Sawyer squeeze, they're an amazing piece of technology, I guess you'd call it. And I'm very thankful for it, because I'm glad I don't have to use iodine pills and things like that. It makes your water taste bad. So I'm gonna this is going to be my last entry for today, because when I get to the bottom of this descent here, it's going to be all uphill until I get to the shelter, and I really don't want to talk in case if there's people at the shelter, and there's liable to be. So I just I wanted to say that so far, these last 5 days, not back in the fall, but in these 5 days, about all the hikers that I have met, they're what I would call and consider practically hardcore hikers. I mean, they know their stuff, they know the craft, and I feel like a novice compared to them, and I'm learning and will learn, and I feel like, that's one of the reasons there are a bunch of reasons why I wanted to hike the trail, but another reason, this is like a crash course in, learning how to do this and get out and backpack, and I believe, I'm confident that I'll get there. But right now I do sort of feel pretty much like a novice, and I'm the only novice around. And these other people that I'm seeing, they pretty much know what they're doing. For me though, this is like an experience of a lifetime. And that may sound sort of childish, juvenile for a man my age, but I've never done anything like this, and I've never really led an adventurous life. done some interesting things, but this is definitely, you know, an opportunity of a lifetime to do for me. A lot of these other, you know, experienced hikers, they've done it a lot, and I think this is just for a routine for them. And I mean, they're doing it for a lot of the same reasons I'm doing it, but it's not as, I guess, awe-inspiring to them as I think it might be to me. I could be wrong. I'm getting ready to cross a gravel road down here, and I'm pretty sure after I cross this gravel road, the trail's going to turn up. And I'm about 2 miles from the shelter. I was really hoping to make it to the shelter by 4 o'clock this evening, but I think it's probably going to be more like around 4:30 before I pull in. It could even be 4:45, but that's fine. It'll still be daylight, and get ready for bed. And hopefully there'll be some other people there, because other than at the hostel, the 2 nights I spent out on the trail so far, I've been totally by myself. So I'm hoping I'm not by myself tonight. It's just a little lonesome. But I'm gonna sign off now. When I do get to the shelter, I'll probably capture a little video of the shelter, but I'm not gonna talk. So if at the end of this video you see a little segment of that, then you'll know what it is, and then I'll maybe get this thing posted tonight if I have cell signal, and then tomorrow I'll do it all over again.